Yeah, welcome everyone, Sanju Chie here. So Tite Kubo has finally returned to the scene with his new series, Burn the Witch, and of course, today we won't necessarily be giving a review, but I just wanted to give my impressions on the chapter. 60 pages of goodness, and I must say, initial impressions, I actually like it. I like what it's going for so far. For those of you who may not know, Burn the Witch is in the Bleach universe, so who knows? Probably in the future we might get a well, it wouldn't really be a crossover, but who knows? Maybe these characters will meet up with Ichigo and the gang at some point. Who knows? But just getting into it, Burn the Witch. Honestly, as the most persons these days, they know about the big three: Naruto, Bleach, One Piece back in the day, right? And this is the second series, or this in terms of the three authors, Tite Kubo, Masashi Kishimoto, and Ichiro Oda. This is the second one out of those three artists who have decided to go on. Well, they've basically gone on and done a sequel series. With Kishimoto, who did Naruto, he did Samurai 8, and now Tite Kubo has gone on to do Burn the Witch. And naturally, I would expect there is going to be some comparisons on that basis as a second person within those three to do a sequel. So to kind of get those comparisons out the window initially, I think this first chapter of Burn the Witch is, in terms of how it's executed at least, I think I received it much better than Samurai 8. The chapter is 60 pages long, and it really does a decent job of getting you into the lore and the world that Kubo is trying to set up with Burn the Witch. Now, not gonna lie, like as I said, initial impressions, I really do like it so far. And like just reading through the pages, like I got to say, it's refreshing to actually get back Kubo's art style. It's just refreshing. Like we know, like out of the three, a lot of persons really, out of the big three, that is, a lot of persons really liked Kubo's art style, and it is refreshing to get it after so long. Because personally speaking, I did read Bleach on a weekly basis, and after Bleach ended and the anime got quote unquote cancelled, I'm just reading it. I'm just seeing his art style after all this time. Outside of other media like different mobile games and all of that, but just having it in manga form, seeing him do something new, it's refreshing to see. I'm not going to lie. Now, the story itself, Burn the Witch, it takes place in London, England. Of course, similar to the hollows that we've already established in Bleach, we have what's known as dragons that have accounted for 72% of deaths in London apparently. So a task force has been assembled, of course, similar to the Soul Reapers, the Gote 13, to actually deal with these dragons who have been causing a majority of death within London. Oh, and of course, disclaimer, yes, it is raining, so apologies for that. I know I don't really have any control over that, but disclaimer. Hopefully, audio quality isn't too bad, but yeah. But getting back into it, so of course we have these dragons in London who are accountable. They're responsible for 72% of deaths. A task force called Wingbind that's actually designated to deal with them, to manage them. And of course, this chapter gives you a pretty straightforward, decent rundown of the rules of this organization and how they actually manage the dragon outbreak. Similarly to Soul Society, London has reverse London, where Wingbind headquarters actually is, and this is where they manage the dragon outbreaks and threats from. Now, I mean, there are a lot of callbacks. Well, I wouldn't say callbacks, but similarities to, Soul Society and just regular Bleach. Obviously, no, regular persons can't see these dragons. Only persons from reverse London are persons who operate from that sphere, or that Shadow London basically, can actually see the dragons. Normal persons can't. So similar to like persons in regular Bleach, where if you aren't spiritually aware, you don't have enough spiritual power, you won't be able to see hollows. Same deal. So there's that. Of course, dragons apparently, when they interact with persons, they apparently, Wingbind has this set of rules in place where persons aren't allowed, without a proper license and training, they're not allowed to interact with dragons. At first I was kind of wondering why that was the case, that was kind of strange to me, because I'm saying, okay, if dragons are responsible for so much death, of course they will be interacting with humans once they actually attack. But of course, this was quickly, rectified. It deals with the management of dragons, because of course it does seem like there are good dragons and bad dragons, because they established that they have dark dragons in the series, with regular dragons being ones that kill humans only when they get hungry, and dark dragons being the ones that absorb the negative emotions of persons and then actually actively hunt and kill people. So that's that. There's that distinguishment. Is that even a word? On display there. So there's that. But that aside, apparently when dragons interact with persons, they infect them with dragotoxins, are dragotoxins, and they become what's known as dragonclad. And these dragon-clad persons, the main symptom of this disease that the dragons infect them with is essentially they attract more dragons. So from the perspective of managing dragons, I can see why Wingbind actually has this law in place, because that would actually make that would actually imagine this dragon outbreak much more difficult. So I understand from there, and apparently there's these rules in place from stuff like insurance and all of that that's in place to actually help mitigate or basically control persons, or sanctions in place to prevent persons from actually interacting with dragons. Now, in terms of our main characters, Nini, Spankool, yeah, that was it, right? And and Noel Nehashi. I like them so far. As I said, whenever you go for like quirky characters, it actually works for me personally. They're full of life, full of personality. I don't have any problems with them. In terms of their personality, it does seem multi-layered. Some parts superficial, some parts might be deeper. I mean, it's the first chapter, so we still have a few chapters to go. I think we're gonna have like 4 chapters in total, and maybe all of them might be at least 60 pages. So yeah, so no problem there. So yeah, I like them, quirky so far. I like the banter between them. It's like your cliche banter between your stoic, somewhat kind of cool badass but quirky character, and your more outgoing, brash, loudmouth character. That cliche dynamic, but it definitely works. Now, as I said, Burn the Witch is Kubo's series. Kubo did Bleach, and by extension, this is the second series, the second author out of the big 3 to do a sequel series. So by extension, a lot of persons, I feel, will be comparing this to Samurai 8. As I said before, I feel like the execution of this, to me, I received it much better than Samurai 8. Samurai 8, honestly, there was so much information in the first chapter that it was almost hard to keep track of it all. With Burn the Witch, it flows much more smoothly. The characters, as I said, they do a job. There's a job there that the characters have to get you invested. Just seeing the art style and just seeing them in action, and just the interaction between the characters, and just seeing the world. Granted, there is a lot of exposition, which is to be expected, but it's just enough to give you an idea of how this world operates. And from there, I will expect us to actually see more of it in action based on the rules established in this chapter. So there's that. Of course, by the end of the chapter, we get the executives, or the top brass of Wingbind, it seems, who is apparently going to go after the dragon-clad person. Oh, wow. That was introduced in this chapter. Balgo. Yeah, I have it here. So there's that. Which seems like a pretty carefree character. I'm kind of interested in seeing more about him and how he became a dragon-clad. So there's that. But I think one of the questions in everybody's minds is that this is going to be a short series. We know we're going to have these chapters. We're going to have the movie adaptation for this, and then we're going to have Bleach, the anime, well, the final arc, adapted into the anime next year. But I think personally, I want to see where Kubo's going to go with this, in terms of Will we get some kind of interaction between this cast of characters and Soul Society, or how everything connects between Soul Society and Reverse London? That's what I want to know. Even though I feel like Kubo, like this is just like a one-off project. I don't know if he's going to go full blown, but you never know. In a day and age where series are becoming more and more corporate and companies are seeing the the opportunities to make money, who knows? Maybe they might work out a deal with Kubo and we get something after Bleach, the anime, next year ends, which might end in 2022 or 2023. Who knows? But yeah. But like when all is said and done, I thought it was a decent chapter. I loved it. Simple, smooth, not too much information, no information overload. I like it. The characters are quirky. In terms of the fight scenes though, um I guess you could think of it more so of just Bleach so far, but with a focus on Kido because that's mainly what we got with the main characters so far in terms of how their fighting style and how they approach fights. It's mainly spells. So yeah. But as I said, definitely love the first chapter. I don't have any complaints really. And since it's already been marketed as a, a short series, relatively speaking, compared to Bleach, I'm just interested in seeing how Kubo is going to pull it off, especially if they're going to have it being like each chapter being 60 pages. So yeah. But let me know what you think if you've checked out Burn the Witch. If you haven't, I would highly recommend it. And if you want to hear my, well, this is more of impressions. I guess I could review it weekly because the next chapter is next week. Granted, I think there's only going to be 4 chapters, so yeah, would be like a short review series. But let me know what you guys think. What are your expectations for the series in the short and long term? And yeah, be sure to subscribe. We're on our way to 1,000 subs. Like the video if you did. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section. And Tite Kubo is back. See you guys in the next video.